Hi, I'm Stephanie, and thank you for joining me for episode 2 of Texas Peach Knits. Today I just want to thank you all for all the great comments and encouragement and all the interaction on YouTube and on Instagram for my first episode of Texas Peach Knits that I filmed in September. Let me tell you, it was so hard not to just jump right back on and film a second episode because I was so excited about how many people had such positive feedback for me. It's been an interesting month. We've had a lot of things happen with our home and our family, so I'll have a little bit of chatting at the end of the video about that, but overall I'm going to try to stick to about once a month of podcasting because I want to make sure that this doesn't overwhelm my family and then wonder if I'm trading them for YouTube fame. Not that I'm famous, but you understand. I want this to stay really fun, and I'm just really excited about being able to share my knitting with you and continue to talk to you. It's been a really good experience for me, and I just really thank you all so much. I have a few people to thank individually. The first one is Anna Knitter of the Anna Knitter podcast. She reached out to me almost right away. She's so kind. If you haven't watched her podcast, I'd be shocked. She's out of Germany. She's fabulous, and she's one of the podcasts that I really enjoy watching, and one of the people that encouraged me to start my own podcast. So check out Anna Knitter. She had no reason that she had to reach out to me, but she did, and she had some great advice, and I just really appreciate that. The second person I want to thank is Erica from Rose Opal Knits. I also really enjoy you and Daphne's podcast. I love your dynamic, and I really enjoy watching the Rose Opal Knits podcast. They did a shout out to me on their last episode, and I was really excited. I had made my husband listen to it because I was so excited about that, because it's just neat to connect to people, and I think all of us knitters need to kind of make those connections, especially when we don't have a lot of people nearby that share our interests. And then the last person I'd like to thank is a viewer from Houston. Her name is Michelle. She very kindly asked if she could send me some yarn, and I really didn't think that I would be asked that question so quickly, and she surprised me with a box of beautiful yarn that you are going to be seeing in the future, and I'll probably give a few things away, and then many of the things I've already eyeballed for myself. So that's very exciting and very, very kind. It's just, knitters are awesome, and I've really enjoyed interacting with everyone that has commented or reached out to me. If for some reason the once a month podcast is just too little bit of me, I can't imagine, but if it is, I'm fairly active on Instagram. I love to post pictures almost every day of what I'm working on. I cannot keep things a secret for my podcast. I like to share. So follow me on Instagram at Texas Peach Knits. Okay, so Thank you all. And to continue with this episode, I'm going to do the normal setup, but I want to start with a comparison of two sweaters that I have knit for myself. I had a lot of questions about things to knit for warmer climates and what were my favorite Texas knitting projects. So I'm going to share two with you today. Then I'm going to follow that up with my finished objects, my whips, my my spinning, some planned projects, and at the end I do have a frugal find for you, and I also am going to share a little bit about knitting and crafting with children and encouraging your children to knit and craft, and how I do it. If you can call it encouragement, you'll have to hear at the end. So I have some of my daughter's projects to share with you, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about knitting and crafting with children. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is two sweaters that I knit myself that are great for warmer climates. The first one I am wearing, and I'm calling this the tale of two blue sweaters. They both happen to be blue. I didn't realize I liked blue so much. I know I'm kind of like, I like navy, but these are both very blue. So the first one I'm wearing, this is the Spring Showers cardigan by Locatelli. It was part of her April Showers sweater collection, which actually has 3 sweaters and a shawl in the collection. I purchased this a long time ago, I believe through Ravelry, and I knit this sweater in 2016 to wear to Rhinebeck, and that's the only time I've been to Rhinebeck, and it was wonderful. If you ever get a chance to go, it's fun and it's very worth it. I actually have family in the Albany area, so I got to go and stay with family, and it was like a little family event, as well as seeing many dear friends that I met there. Okay, so this is the Spring Showers sweater. This is my #1 most worn knitted object. I wear it many times throughout the year. I have a black dress that I love to wear this over to wear to church. I wear it year round because you can wear it in air conditioning comfortably, and then it's also a little bit warm enough to wear during the Texas winter. So I knit this out of Knit Picks Hawthorne in the Irvington colorway. I used 3.75 skeins, so just under 4 skeins, and I knit the size 46-48. It is a oversized sweater. That is the way it is supposed to be. So let me stand up and you can see the whole thing. So it is a very long sweater. It is knit from side, wrapped around the back to the other side. It has a lot of short row shaping that creates this kind of like dressy drape, and it has very nice short sleeves. I love not having to push up my sleeves because I use my arms a lot. So this is the Spring Showers, like I said. This is Hawthorne from Knit Picks, and it is a super springy, bouncy kind of yarn. It's very lightweight, and it's very soft and comfortable to wear. It's not itchy at all, and it's very just like bouncy, but also I feel like it has a really nice drape. So this is one of those sweaters that I honestly wear so often that I want to knit another one. I just have to decide what color I want to knit it in. And I will definitely knit it out of the Hawthorne again because I've had it since 2016. I probably wear it 10 or 12 times a year out and about, and it still looks awesome. So I love this sweater. It's a great warm weather sweater, and let me know what you think. So the second set sweater I want to show you, actually I will change into it just a moment. This is the second sweater I would like to show you, my second blue sweater, and it is the Gooseberry cardigan from Interweave Knits Weekend 2009. It's a pattern by Hannah Fettig, and it has actually been rebranded. It was rebranded quite a long time ago as the Calligraphy cardigan. So you've probably, if you've been in the knitting world a while, you have seen the Calligraphy cardigan. I remember it being very popular. I can't remember what year, but it was a while ago, at least, you know, about 10 years ago. Now, there are things that I adore and love about this sweater, and then there are things that make me want to frog it. And I'm still considering frogging it. So you'll have to give me your ideas on that, on what I should do. So the reason I chose this pattern is because I bought a sweater at a garage sale. I paid $25 for the said sweater. And it had this kind of a collar and this kind of a shape to it. And I loved that 25-cent sweater. It was the coziest, most wonderful house sweater, and I wore it all the time, to the point that it looked so terrible that I didn't even want to wear it around the house anymore. I mean, I washed it, I killed it, okay? I mean, it was already used. It was in a garage sale. So I decided I was going to knit this sweater to replace that sweater. A few things went wrong with this sweater, and a few things went very right. So I'm going to share those now. One of the things that went right was my yarn choice. I chose Valley Yarns Longmeadow, and I still have a full skein. I actually have about a skein and a half left. I don't remember how many I used. I probably used about 15, maybe I bought 15 and used 13. So this is the Valley Yarns Longmeadow. This is 60% cotton and 40% microfiber. I highly, highly, highly recommend this yarn if you want a just like really comfortable knit piece that you can wear in warmer climates. It's surprisingly cool yet warm. It knit up beautifully. The fabric that it created is just so smooth and lovely. Like, I feel like it almost looks store-bought, or does look store-bought. So I love this yarn. That's part of the reason I've thought about frogging the sweater, is so that I can knit something that I would wear more with the yarn. Okay, the problems with this sweater is I worked on it during 2020, 2021. I actually finished it in spring of 2021. And I was a little bit heavier at the time. And I was going through a phase. We probably all go through these things where we're like, I'm not going to knit that sweater until I'm the right size that I want to knit the sweater for. Right? Have you been there? But then I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to knit the sweater. I'm going to knit it in the size I am. I have the right amount of yarn. It's going to be fine. But what I didn't take into consideration was that because this is cotton and it's kind of heavy and drapey, when I chose the right size, it grew even more. So this is a very loose sweater on me, and to the point that it falls, it's heavy and it falls off. So it's become where it's not comfortable to wear around the house because I'm constantly having to like hike it up and move it and mess with it. And I want something that I can just wear. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to show you. I actually don't remember what size I knit, but it's too big. I mean, the arm, like my armpit is way up here. So this is all extra. Okay, standing up again. So this is the Gooseberry or Calligraphy cardigan. It is quite oversized on me, so like, give you an idea. And I'm not a tiny person, so this is a large sweater. This really bothers me, having all of this extra fabric here, and I feel like it makes the shoulders fall down a lot. As you can see, I didn't even finish putting the buttons on. I only put the top buttons on, and when I do wear it, I almost wear it like a robe, and I just button the top buttons. So overall, like, I love the fabric. I like that I made the sleeves shorter. I'd probably cinch these in a little bit more too. But it's just so baggy that it's a little uncomfortable for me to wear. Okay, did you see enough? So this is the Gooseberry cardigan that was rebranded as the Calligraphy cardigan by Hannah Fettig. As you see, I didn't do any waist shaping. I'm not a big fan of waist shaping because my waist is kind of high. But it is what it is. Okay. So those are my two blue sweaters. My recommendations for people in warm climates is definitely knit the Spring Showers by Joji Locatelli. You will not regret it. And then my second recommendation is if you're looking for a cotton yarn that knits up beautifully, it's really soft and nice to wear, this Valley Yarns, it's by Webb's, Longmeadow. Love it. So definitely recommend. So my thing with this sweater is, do I just keep it as like a robe and wear it at, you know, I mostly wear it with like my pajamas now. Or do I frog it and either knit a much smaller size or knit a completely new sweater out of it? Let me know what you would do, because I'm really on the fence with this one because I like the yarn so much, but then I could also just buy more of the yarn and make something different and not have to go through the process of frogging. So, you know, those thoughts. I think we all have those thoughts. So let me know what you think. I love getting the feedback and hearing what other people would do in my situation. So, okay, I'm going to put on the other sweater because then it won't be falling off while I'm talking. So hopefully that wasn't too long of an intro about my two blue sweaters. Now I'm going to move into my finished objects. My finished objects today are something I had not even started at the last podcast. I made some baby bonnets. So my cousin is having a baby. She lives in Washington State. She actually just had the baby, little baby girl, and I knit this bonnet for her baby. This is called the Merriment bonnet by French Press Knits, and I used some leftovers I had of Cascade 220 Superwash, which is one of my favorite yarns to use for baby gifts just because it's easy to care for, and you still have that beautiful wool kind of specialty feel to it. So these were just some leftovers that I had. I'm fairly certain the colors are ruby, white, and a Porto, I think is the blue. I think this looks so like Americana baby, like all those old, I can't even think of who the artists were, but like the folk artists that do all the like scenes from the Northeast, with all the ox carts and things. So this is my Americana baby bonnet. This is, I believe, the newborn, or 0 to 3, the smallest size. So this was really fun to knit. I did not steek it. I just knit the color work back and forth. I still need to kind of trim some of my ends. But you can knit it in the round and steek it. I've never steeked, so that's one thing I haven't done. So that's that. And then I shared a photo of this on Facebook with my friends because I just thought it turned out so precious. And then a friend asked me to make one for her. So she has an 8-month-old grandbaby, and they are very kind of classy Southern ladies. And so she wanted something very kind of like vintagey, and I think this looks very French baby chic. I knit the same bonnet, just a bigger size, in this very pale blush color. It's so hard to photograph. It looks almost gray, but it's blush pink. An ivory, and this colorway is called French Lavender. And these are Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek. So this is Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek. This is a acrylic yarn from Hobby Lobby. And I have a problem now with Hobby Lobby because I take my kids once a week to an orchestra class that I pass Hobby Lobby on the way there. And I used to not go look at Hobby Lobby stuff very often, but now once a week I'm driving right by, and I've been really happy with all the yarns from there that I've picked up. So this I knit very tight. You can tell it's kind of like stiff. I knit it on size 5 needles. I wanted it to have kind of a solid texture so that it would be warm and in the winter and not have air going through to her ears. So this is what I guessed to be about an 8-month size. I'm really hoping it is not too huge, but by the time she gets it, she'll be even closer to a year. So this winter when she's wearing it. So I think it'll fit well. But I think this turned out beautiful. I'm probably gonna knit another one. Okay. Oh, and so this, it almost reminds me of chenille. When I knit it, like it's got that kind of spongy feel. But I like it. I think it works out really well. So these were the colors: blush, French lavender, and ivory. And I definitely have enough to knit 1 or 2 more, or use these for something else. So that was the Merriment bonnet by French Press Knits. Okay, my last finished object are my son's socks. So I showed these as a whip last time. I was like right here starting the heel. These are out of West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn called Brightside, and this was just some scrap gray I had of sock yarn in my stash. So I tell more about the yarns in the first video, so if you're interested in that, you can pop back to see these. So I finished these. They turned out great. They fit him great. He loves them. I made sure to make them long enough that they'll fit all winter, and I'm just very happy with how they turned out. And this is how much Brightside I have left after knitting 3 pairs of little boy socks. So these ones are the biggest pair I made. I did a 60 stitch cast on, and they're just a generic stockinette sock. So very happy with these. So for works in progress, I am working on several things. I cast on another sweater. I was inspired by 2 podcasters who were both doing knit-alongs that this sweater went along with, so I thought I just need to cast that on because I'm getting all the signs that now is the right time. The sweater I'm knitting is the Acorn Trails sweater. It is by Amy Herzog, who is no longer designing knitwear, but you can still purchase her patterns, I believe. I purchased this pattern a long time ago and the yarn to knit it, but then I never started it, and I don't know why. But so I said 2 podcasters had knit-alongs. Anna Knitter had a September Anna's Knit Club where she wanted everyone to knit something with a fall theme. So acorns are super fall, and this yarn is a fallish color. This is, and I lost the ball band, but it's Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted. So it's just the normal non-superwash. And the Acorn Trail sweater is knit in pieces from the bottom up. This is the back panel, and it has this lovely cabling pattern. So this is actually 3 different charts. You have the acorn chart, you have this lace panel chart, and you have the cable, which I think she calls an upside down stag cable panel. So you follow 3 charts while you're knitting up the back. It actually didn't take me very long to memorize. The lace chart is super easy, so that one was no problem. And then the cables and the acorns, I also have memorized, but I set this down for a while, and so now when I start working on it again, I need to pick it back up again. Oh, and the other knit along that I was doing this for is the Politically Incorrect Knitters, and Pinkava is doing a 2 sweater challenge, which is trying to knit 2 sweaters for the cold winter. And so this one I'm knitting, and then I'm counting my sweater I'm knitting for my daughter as my second sweater. So I'm really enjoying this. I think the cables are really fun. I did take out the waist shaping, but I ended up choosing a slightly smaller size. So it's interesting because the sizes go from 42 3/4, and then it jumps up to 46 1/4. So I'm kind of a 43. So I thought, well, I'm kind of a loose knitter. I've had sweaters in the past turn out too big, so I'm just going to go with the 42 3/4, and I can always lock it more. So the main thing is holding me up now is I have to decide how long I want this to be, like where I want it to hit me, so that I know where I want to start the sleeves. So I just have to make a personal decision about this sweater, about how long I want the back of it to be. So, because I don't think I want it super long, but I also don't wear a lot of like really cropped sweaters, so I just have to decide for myself like what length I want it. So that is my first WIP. My next one is the sweater for my daughter. I showed the back panel that I had finished last time. I'm knitting it out of Louisa Harding Jasmine, which is like a silk wool cotton. Oh, cotton, bamboo, silk, and polyester, no wool. This is a good Texas yarn. So, and I started, let me show you the picture. I'm so sorry. Norah Gaughan, how do you say her name? And it is this flower child sweater. I already knit the back side. It's knit in triangles. And this is the first triangle from the front with the first petal from the flower. So this cable chart was not very hard. It was kind of fun to knit. And then knitting the whole bottom of the triangle back and forth with all the increases was a little bit of a slog for me, and I'm gonna have to give myself a pep talk to start the next triangle. So I'm sure the cable part will be fun, and then just, you know, doing the work. The next work in progress I have is the Taffy blanket. This is a crochet blanket. I talked about it a lot last time, so I'm not going to talk about it a whole lot. But here is the picture. I am knitting this multicolored, not solid white. And this is from the Big Book of Baby Afghans by Leisure Arts, which is an excellent resource if you like to crochet lots of different baby blankets. Okay, so I have it all pieced together. I'm gonna stand up. So this is my pieced together taffy blanket, and it is a 5x7 motif. Between last time and this time, I crocheted all these little ivory squares that go in between the motifs, as well as finishing. I think I had to do all the yellows and all the dark greens. I think this turned out just beautiful. I need to still, there's a triangle piece that's going to go in here. So I need to knit all the triangles, and then there's a border. This is quite a large baby blanket. It's just really, really soft. It's out of the Yarn Bee Soft Secret yarn. And I think it's just going to be a really cozy, nice blanket for my friend and her little baby boy. So I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I know last time I said I don't mind weaving in ends, and I really don't. But once you add them all up, I've already done some over here. There are so many ends. There are just so many ends. So every night I'm just sitting down and I'm weaving a few in, and eventually they will be done. So I don't know, I might need to learn how to crochet over my ends. I might need to put that on my to-do list to learn. So, but this really turned out beautiful. I really love it. So that should be finished next time. All right, so my last WIP is the pair of socks that I started for my 11-year-old daughter. These are, she wanted the Hermione's Everyday Socks because she is really into Harry Potter right now. And of course, Hermione is just a really cool character. I am knitting them out of Premier Yarns, the Deborah Norville colorway, and this is Paprika. This is a super soft sock yarn. It is 50% superwash merino, 25% rayon and 25% nylon. So I've never knit a pair of socks out of this before, but they're very soft and squishy. So I think she's gonna like them. She does not like itchy things at all, so I think she's gonna like it. So I decided to knit these 2 at a time since I have 2 balls, and I cast these on Thursday during my kids' orchestra class. Now it's Saturday morning, and I've knit the cuffs. We had to go for a little drive yesterday, so my husband was driving and I did all the lots of ribbing. So the 1x1 ribbing, and I usually don't talk about my knitting needles, but these a friend gave me because she knew how much I love them. They're from Rebecca, and oh, they're being crazy. These are, well, they're size 1. They're Knitter's Pride Zing. They are not an expensive knitting needle, but they are one of my favorites. I've only ever used the fixed circulars. This is a 47-inch. It's quite long, and they have this black kind of plastic feeling cord, and I really like the cord. I feel like it is a really solid cord. Like, you don't feel like it's just like gonna bend all over the place. But it's also very flexible and easy to do magic loop on. And I love the points. They're kind of flattened a little bit, so they don't split the yarn, but they're still very pointy. And I have a set of size 6 ones that I use almost every time I need a size 6 because I love, love, love them. And they're in fun colors too, and have these silver points. So I don't know if you can see how they're very pointy, but then they're kind of like flat at the top. So highly recommend Knitter's Pride Zing for you to try if you need just like a fixed circular for something. So, but my friend knew how much I love these, so she had found a pair and sent them my way. So I appreciate that. So Knitter's Pride Zing. So these are just the Hermione's Everyday Socks. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and they're by Erica Luder and Dreams in Fiber. So I've knit these before. I actually knit a pair for my mom once, and I think my daughter just thought, since they say Hermione, that they were the perfect ones for her. So I'm just going to knit the whole thing out of this yarn. I'm not going to do contrast heels and toes for these. Okay, so I have spinning to show you still. My 500 subscriber giveaway, which is very exciting, and then some kid project talk. So spinning first. I finished spinning the rest of my Malabrigo Nude in the Plomo colorway, and this is how it turned out. It is super soft. It's a merino wool. And so this is just one skein of the marled I did with a undyed. My plans for this yarn, I have about 1,000 yards of this, and then this is all I have of the solid gray. I mean, it's not solid, but it's with all just the gray. I said last time that I want to knit a Shetland shawl. I have this book, Country Weekend Knits. It's by Madeline Weston, and she has an old shale shawl in here. So I'm going to use the marled. I'm 99% sure I'm going to knit this. And I want to buy a dress so I can wear it like that. But the main color, I'm going to do the marled, and then I will mix in the gray I'm thinking about, I have a bunch of just like random colors of Knit Picks palette, and it's a similar size and texture to my hand spun, so I might mix in some brighter colors in the striping, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So this is the old Shetland shawl, and that is my plans for my hand spun. So I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to start it, but it's likely I will start it before the next podcast. I have quite a bit of like little bits and pieces of hand spun, and I have plans for that as well. And so I will probably share one of my ideas for using up smaller quantities of hand spun in a further future podcast. Got a lot of glare on my glasses right now because the sun moved. So that was my spinning. I'm going to talk about my 500 subscriber giveaway now. So I am shocked that I got 500 subscribers already, and now I'm over 600. It's just so much fun. And I decided to make some stitch markers. Now, I am not a professional stitch marker maker, so have low expectations. But I can put together some basic stitch markers. So I made these little sets of Texas Peach Knits stitch markers. They are a boot, stainless, I think they're stainless steel, a boot, a little cute Texas. This one is on a like a clasp, so it can be a crochet stitch marker or a progress keeper, and a little peach. So I have 5 sets of these that I would love to give away to subscribers. So please be a subscriber and leave a comment under this episode. And what I would like you to comment on to be entered is, how do you make time for knitting? What are your tricks for being able to have the time to knit or crochet or do your crafts? What do you do? And I was trying to think about what I do. That was one of the things people have asked me, having 4 kids and homeschooling. How do I even have time? Number one, I do what I like. So I like doing these kinds of things, so I make time for what I like. But the thing that helps me make time for what I like is actually having lots of projects going at the same time. The reason that helps me is because no matter what kind of circumstance I'm in, I usually have a project that works well in that situation. So easy, like purse knitting projects, to more complicated, mommy needs a break from life and I want to like use my brain projects. So I usually have a wide variety of projects that I'm working on. I'm constantly thinking of what I want to start next, and already having them going helps me have things to work on, because I don't have to plan a project or stop to go buy supplies, or there's no like pause in there. There's always something ready for me to work on. So anytime I have time, I'm ready to go. So that's how I do it. I would love to hear how you do it. And I will be drawing 5 names to give away 5 sets of these Texas Peach stitch markers that are oh so cute. And I wanted to give a shout out to the Etsy shop that I bought the charms from. It's called Loretta's Beads, and she is out of Idaho, and she actually has a cool story. She's a grandma that wanted more time to be home with her grandkids, so she started a little bead shop on Etsy, and she has so many charms. So you could go there and find almost any charm you want. So, and the shipping was super fast. Okay, so that's the 500 subscriber giveaway. Please comment on how you make time for knitting. And I think what I'm going to do is about October 15th, I will draw. So get those comments in the next 2 weeks. And then I will do a very short episode where I just announce the winners so that you have time to contact me. And if I don't get contacted, then in my November episode, I will draw names for whatever I was not contacted from. Okay, so I'm looking forward to reading your comments. So I forgot about my frugal find. This is an older find that I had that you can still get. It's one of my favorite kind of like knitting accessories. And it is a Shutterfly product. So that is a photograph internet company where you can order photo books and other things. And I actually, several years ago, ordered a reusable shopping bag from them. And they often do like free shopping bag code or 50% off. You know, they'll have some kind of code that makes it very inexpensive, or you just pay shipping. And the reason this is a knitting frugal find is because I use it as an extra large project bag, and I was able to customize it with photographs of some of my spinning. So if you want to have a customized project bag with either pictures of your most favorite projects, or if you're like me and you like to spin, you can put, and I'm so sorry, it's a little dirty. I think I spilled coffee on it. I put pictures of my spinning on it. So this is a very large bag. It's a reusable shopping bag, and I likely had a coupon code where you just paid shipping. And it just makes such a fun bag, and then when you're out, you can kind of show off what you've done. And I thought that, you know, spinning is so beautiful. So that's my frugal find this time, is a customized project bag from Shutterfly. And I think it's just a fun thing to have. So, and you can take it to the yarn store with you to use for all your things you buy. So that's my frugal find, the Shutterfly shopping bag with pictures of your favorite projects. So lastly today, I'm going to talk about knitting with kids. My daughters are 13 and 11, and my the way I go about teaching knitting is I almost act uninterested in teaching them knitting. That might sound crazy, but at least with my children, I've found that if I push something, if I'm like, I like this thing so much and you have to like it too and do it with me, then they just get like, whoa, Mom. First of all, you're old. Second of all, you're not cool. And it sounds like you're trying to teach us something which you do every day with homeschool, and we don't want to learn anything else from you. So my way that I get them to learn anything is, number one, I show that I enjoy it, so they see that it's an enjoyable thing, and then I'm kind of nonchalant about them learning. I've bought a few like Knitting with Kids books, and I'll share a couple of my favorite ones on Instagram because I forgot to bring them with me. But I never am like, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna learn to knit today. I let it all be from their end. My eldest daughter has learned some basic knitting. She loves to crochet and she loves to teach herself. So she will occasionally ask me how to do something, but for the most part, she wants to figure it out. So if I just kind of have some books available and leave them, this is what I do with like chapter books, is I'll buy books I think they'll like, and then I just hide them on their bookshelves. And then one day they find them and they're like, oh, I found this great book. I can't believe I never saw it on my bookshelf before. It's the best book, Mom. And I'm like, that's nice, honey. And inside I'm like, yes, they found the book and they read it and they love it and they don't feel like I forced them to do. Is that sneaky? That might be a little sneaky. But I do that with crafting books. I've always had lots of like kids craft idea books, the child craft library that has a whole make and do book, and letting them just kind of explore and make things on their own. Now, my second daughter, she loves to make things. She reminds me a lot of myself. When I was young, I was a mess. I asked my mom, like, how did you deal with me? Because I was so messy. Always having hundreds of projects going, and she reminded me that I went to school, and so she would just throw my stuff away while I was at school, and I never noticed, so evidently she did a good job. But my second daughter loves to make things, is always making things out of recycling, and she knits and crochets, and she also does not want me to give her too much instruction, so sprinkling ideas around. They have to buy most of their own yarn. I'll occasionally have leftovers or something that I'll give them, but if they want to make a specific project, I'll take them to Hobby Lobby and they have to use their money that they've earned to buy yarn. So, and then it's more their project and they're actually more motivated to really finish it and figure it out if they put some money into it themselves versus me just constantly supplying things. My boys, they have done some very basic crafting too. They like to use the little loom knitting things, but not for very long. And I'm just like with the girls, like I don't push it at all. I just let them kind of explore and figure out what they like doing. So that's my theory. So far, it's been okay. So let me show you what my girls have been making. They read a book about tea dragons. It was like a comic book. I don't necessarily recommend the book, so don't run out to buy it for your children. But they were inspired by the pictures of these little dragons in the book, and they ended up crocheting a whole bunch of dragons. So these are some of their creations, and they did not follow a pattern. As you can tell, they did not they don't have a lot of technique, but they are so creative. They are just super creative, and their dragons all have different personalities, so they all look a little different. This one's got big floppy ears, little earring, little wings. And then as they've worked on them, their techniques have gotten tighter. That you can tell that like her technique is improving with her crochet. I've got a couple more. So these two little ones. And they actually looked at the pictures in this book and tried to copy the pictures they saw in the book. They like to make their own little toys. And so they're just really sweet. They spent a lot of time on these. It's one of the beauties of homeschooling is they can go off on a creative tangent And yes, I do make them do math. We do have a full school schedule. But then they were so excited about making these dragons, and my 5-year-old wanted one, and he was asking them to make him one, but they were so busy and off on their own thing that I was like, I'll just figure it out and make you one. So I made one too. And so this is the one I made. And like I said, just like them, I just picked a picture and tried my best to copy it. I like the little stripes. It's got a little tail. And this is just, it's just fun. So I think with kids and with crafting, it should be fun. It shouldn't be a school subject where you're going to learn this exact technique. But once they get this love for it and for creating, they will seek out those techniques. Someday I might try to teach a more official class on it to some of the homeschoolers in our area, but I really haven't, because I feel like it should be a passion, and if anybody seeks me out to learn, I'm very happy to share techniques, but I'm not going to force it on anyone. So I already have to force enough learning on my children, not to force knitting techniques on them too, because that's my fun thing. Okay, so I think that's everything. The couple of things I thought about sharing from just what went on this month is our well broke. So we have a well for our house for all our water, and we've lived in this house for 16 years, and we've never had any serious issues with the well, but then one day we just didn't have water. So we had to call a well company, and they had to pull the whole well up. It's 220 feet deep, and we had to get a new pump for the bottom of the well. So luckily, our well was not dry, but we did have to replace the pump. So that was a lot, but it's all fine. It works. We have water, everything, all of that is great. The other thing is we all got sick. So we'd been sick for about 2 weeks once everybody got sick, and I'm still just slightly congested. But it was funny because my eldest daughter was starting to write the dates ahead in her assignment book. And I said, don't do that. You never know when we're going to get sick. And I don't want to have to erase weeks and weeks of dates to put your assignments in. And she was like, Mom, we're never sick. There's a 2% chance that we're going to be sick. And the very next day, my 5-year-old had a fever, and then all of us got sick. And we probably missed 6 days or 7 days of school. Because everyone was just tired and feeling icky. And it's really hard to motivate anyone when somebody's feeling off, especially when Mom is sick. It's very hard to motivate. So we've had an interesting, we had a long kind of break from school. So luckily I pack in a lot of extra days into our school year so that we can take off when we need to. And then yesterday we were out driving and we got a flat tire. So now I have new tires and we're planning a trip for Thanksgiving out of state. So I'm glad that we have brand new tires and now we can drive safely. So, just life and all things. But I really enjoy having this opportunity to talk to all of you through this platform. I hope you enjoyed all of my projects today, and don't forget to comment to win the 500 subscriber giveaway. So please subscribe and follow me on Instagram if you want to have more frequent updates of what I'm working on. So have a really great month, enjoy October, and I will be back in about 2 weeks to announce the winners of the 500 subscriber giveaway. Bye.